Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. There is new content over there. Follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram, he's at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out to the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes, and coming or going, hit the like button. Today we're talking the Nene Leakes and Cynthia Bailey interview. I told y'all this was gonna do numbers. Listen, y'all may not always believe me at first, but nonetheless, it's gonna do numbers, and we're gonna talk about it. So I'm gonna give it to y'all quick. I might have to break this up into a couple of videos because, again, y'all know that I like to get to the point, get to it, and get it done. So we're going to talk about how there was a demand for this interview. It sounded like there was a mix of fan requests as well as Nene had pre-called, Cynthia in advance to get everything crack-a-lackin'. Cynthia promoted her tequila, and it was funny because she promoted the tequila, but then was like, well, let me open it up, the one that I'm going to give you, so I can give myself some. And I was like, what? I was like, shouldn't there just have been a bottle for Nene unopened and ready to go? like, what? Nonetheless, they were fabulous. Nene talked about the new housewives, right? And she said that Angela Oakley was in her Success type of program many years ago. Also talked about that she met Kelly, that they were at some restaurant. Kelly was at the bar. Kelly was eating or whatever. Nene was somewhere else at the restaurant eating. And Kelly came over after she was done eating and sat there with Nene, and they just had a key. They were laughing, everything else. Nene already knew, of course. Shamia also said as well that Britt apparently saw Nene. Nene apparently saw Britt, and Britt did not acknowledge her. What is that about? What is that about? What the welly? And even with the beef that Portia and Nene got going on, what does that got to do with you? What does that have to do with you? Like how Shamia's like, it's not my fight. Oh, Cynthia threw the ultimate shade at Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And Cynthia was like to Nene, you and I could take over Beverly Hills. And I agree. This is my frustration with Beverly Hills and a lot of these other housewives spinoffs. They get away with the bare minimum. They get away with the absolute bare minimum. If you don't want your lawsuit on the show, it's not going to be there. If you don't want your arrest on the show, it's not going to be there. If you don't want your divorce or your cheating scandal on the show, it's not going to be there. And you can pretend that you are still married and living happily ever after. If y'all all agree, y'all want to pile on one person for 30 episodes in the 3-episode part reunion, you can do that. Cynthia is right that she filmed a couple of episodes and it was absolutely, the arguments were nothing. It is nothing like the firehouse that Real Housewives of Atlanta is. Nothing like the firehouse that Real Housewives of Atlanta is. Also, she said that they really talked about and honed in on how they were the pioneers, how Real Housewives of Atlanta were the pioneers of a lot of things. Also talked about as well the fact of the matter that, these new housewives, they kind of have an edge in terms of like seeing what was previously done on the show. So yeah, and that was the thing too that felt kind of less organic, is even if you've seen the show before, it's the fact that these new people are already coming onto the show with stylists and makeup artists and all of these things, already trying to look the part. I appreciate the housewives. Like this is why I appreciated Denise Richards on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Because she understood that, listen, I've been in Hollywood. I know some of y'all people. However, I don't need to be glammed up. She came regular schmegular. There was no makeup artist. There was no nothing. I remember their trip. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere in Asia. It was somewhere in Asia they were at. And Denise had on jeans and a t-shirt. Because she was like, listen, this is a vacation. This is a vacation. I'm not about to be up here in all of this extra nonsense. Like this is a vacation. We're touring. We're sightseeing. We're not filming for a show. And she's right. She's right, because Nene talked about it. She talked about how uncomfortable wearing these big old earrings were. Nene said that a lot of things that she was doing, they were trying to, do stuff that was on trend, that whatever the trending styles were and everything else, they were trying to keep up with that. However, a lot of things have evolved, a lot of things have changed and everything else. They talked about Phaedra's due date being one of the more iconic storylines on the show, how both Cynthia and Phaedra were in the running and they both ended up making the show because they both had storylines that took the show in a different direction. Nene asked if the marriage license debacle was fake, and Cynthia said absolutely not. She said that what happened was, where she was getting ready initially for the wedding, she had left the marriage license. And so they had to go back and get it. And she said, when you shoot, especially like something as big as a wedding, they shoot you all day. Like all day from the moment that you get up till closing, right? And so it sounded like they basically shot everything but the honeymoon. But nonetheless, that was real, her mom and her sister being concerned. I was so fascinated with that storyline, how much the mom and the sister were like, no. If we could just dispose of this marriage license, this marriage doesn't need to happen. You blinked, you missed it, because it was never going to happen. Cynthia's up here talking about she likes men rough around the edges and this and that, and then Nene is like, but that didn't work out for you. I mean, the shade was on point. The shade of it all was on point. And so she was talking about how anybody who dealt with her, like it was a package deal of Noelle and Leon. And so Peter had respect for that. But Nene said when she first met Peter, she thought he was an a-hole. She thought he was very mean and everything else. And she was surprised because Cynthia really liked him. And Cynthia said as well that, I'm trying to think what else. She likes being a friend of the show. She doesn't understand the shade people throw at people being friends of the housewives, because she feels as though, especially the work she's putting in this season, like she's moving a lot of things along and getting a lot of things going and getting a lot of conversations happening, or moving storylines along or moving resolutions along and all of this and all of that. And Cynthia said she doesn't care whether she has a peach or not. She feels like she's been on the show over a decade, like she has nothing else to prove. She said her being a friend of means that she doesn't have to film as much and she can devote more time to her acting career. She can devote more time to her businesses and other ventures that she's got going on. She's not tied to a set schedule, of just all those mandatory days that she would normally have to film when you are a page holder. Cynthia also plugged her podcast that she's got coming out and wants Nene to be one of the guests. Also, Carlos King apparently hyped up Cynthia's friendship contract, and Cynthia thought it was, I guess Kim Zolciak. You remember Kim gave her a hard time, but I guess Kim gave her a hard time again when they filmed that reality show that's on Hulu and everything else. And so, she said that ended up being iconic. She's like, when we film this stuff, we don't know what sayings or things like that are going to be, one of the, top things. And Cynthia was like, I forgot too, speaking of the friendship contract, I forgot to bring over the new one. And so none of the less, Cynthia was hyping up the fact that other shows have implemented some sort of friendship contract of sorts as it pertains to Cynthia, who came up with. And there was some concerns initially in Cynthia's interviews because she was too nice and they weren't sure about her. But I think once they saw the full picture of Messy Peter and her mom and her sister, I think they realized that they had a gold mine that they were sitting on. And speaking of the friendship contract, Carlos was like, "Oh, you secured the next season with this friendship contract, honey." And I was like, "Here we go." Not too much on Carlos King. Like we can just leave him over at the OWN network and wherever other network that is not named Bravo, y'all. So there is that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.